Hello guys, welcome back to the Python series. Kevul Ganatra here. So let's start with our discussion on the Python series. So until now we have covered a lot of topics in Python. So now it's time to move ahead. We have seen data types, right? So what were the data types that we saw? We saw integers, we saw floats, we saw string and booleans, right? So now let's take our discussion ahead of the data types, and let me introduce you to three more data types in Python. And these are a bit advanced data types that you can call off, but you can call them as data structures as well, but I would like to call them as data types in Python. So now what are these data types? So the data types that we are about to learn, the first one is list. Yes, we have been using the list for a while now, but we actually don't know that what is a list or how to manipulate it or how to work with it. So first one is list. Then we have tuple, or you can also call it as tuple, however you are comfortable. So second one we have tuple, and the third one is dictionaries. So before moving ahead, let's roll the intro and let's start with our discussion on lists. So welcome back and get your machines ready. We are about to write a hell lot of code here. So before starting with the list, let's understand what is a list. A list is a mutable sequence. Now here, what is this mutable? So let's first discuss the terms mutable and immutable. So mutable is something whose values we can change, or the values that can vary over a period of time. And immutable is something that's value remains constant and cannot be changed. So let's take some examples of mutable things like score in a game, right? Or a temperature in a weather applications. These things are mutable, right? The game score can keep on changing. Also the temperature can keep on changing. So here we want something that is mutable. And talking about immutable, there are some cases in our projects or in our applications that we need to keep something constant, or we would like to keep something constant, and we won't want to change the value in the future as well. So what are these scenarios? So let's take an example of let's say you are creating a bank application. There you can have a user's bank number or similar things, or a registration number or something like that. So these things you will like to keep them as immutable. So this is mutable and immutable. So talking about lists are immutable, and the tuple thing that we will learn in the next video, so they are immutable sequence. So let's start with the list, that is a mutable sequence. Now what is a list? A list we have seen that it can store any values. Rather it can be a int, string, integer, float, or all together. So let's start and let's write some code for it. So let's create a new file. Before that, let me just close all these ones. Okay. Okay, so let's create a new file and a new Python file, and let's name it as list. So list.py, the new Python file has created. So first let's create a list. So let's name it as list1 equals to, we have seen right now, I think you guys know how to create a list and how to add some values, or how to initialize a list with values. So let's go ahead. So how to create a list? It is created using square brackets. Now what we will do is let's print list1. So right now the list that we have created just right now, it's an empty list, right? So let's try and verify that. So we will print list1 just like we print a variable. Similarly, list1 is a variable that is holding a list right now, which is empty. So here we can see that empty square brackets are written. That means our list is empty for now. So now let's insert some values. So as we discussed, it can store some integers. List can be of only integers, can be of only strings, can be only of floats, or all together. So let's create a list, and let's say we have some numbers in it. So we have 3, we have 7, okay 6, we have 9, we have 2, and we have 0. And these are just the random numbers that I wanted to put in the list. So first operation that we would like to perform is the printing thing, that whenever in variables also we saw that once we saw that how to initialize the variables, then we learned that how to print them. So similarly, here we have seen that how to print it. Again, print list1, and here the list will be printed with the square brackets. And whenever you encounter square brackets in Python, remember that square brackets are for list. So now let's move ahead. So also what we can do with list is, let's try and access some values. So in Python, we have already seen the concept of index numbers, right? That counting starts from 0, or in a sequence, every individual element has an index, and that index starts counting from 0 and so on. So here the index for 3 will be 0, 6 it will be 1, 9 will be 2, and so on. So let's say I want to access 9. So how will I do it? We have done that with strings as well, right? So how we can do it? Just we will have a square bracket here, and we will have the index number. So index number of the 9 is 2. So let's run and see, and we have got here 9. So this is accessing any element of a list using directly the index number. Okay. In the strings also we saw there was something called a slicing, right? So let's try that here also. So let's say I want to slice from 1 until I want till that is 4. So let's try and run it. And here we have got 6, 9 and 2. So here 1 and the 4 is exclusive, so we will get 1, 2 and 3. Let the elements of the index 1, 2 and 3. So we have got here 6, 9 and 2. So yes, it's working fine. So now let's try some more experiments with this. So let's print list1. Let's multiply it by 2. So what will happen? All the values will get multiplied by 2. Let's see. Let's run it. Right click and let's run list. Okay, this is something new that we have seen, right? The values didn't got multiplied by 2, but the whole list got multiplied, copied once, because it was a single list and we multiplied it by 2, so one more list was created. So this is our list 1 and this is our list 2. So this is how multiplication works with list. So for now let us create one more list. Let's say we have list 2, and let's have some values in it, like we have 4, we have 5, we have 2, 1 and 3. Okay, so this is our list. So what we will do is, let's try and concatenate two lists. We have seen that how we can concatenate two strings as well. So now let's try and concatenate two lists. Okay, so it's again simple. Here we will have the print function, then we will have list 1 plus list 2. So let's check and see whether these lists are concatenated or not. And here we can see, yes, this is our list 1 and followed by this is the list 2. That is, the concatenation was successful. So what, with all these operations that we saw now, so what we can conclude is that the behavior of the list is very similar to strings. Alright, so let's move ahead with our discussion. And also we have seen that with the list we can loop through them using the for loop and the while loop that we have did at the time of learning about the for loops, right? So we won't do that again. I hope you guys know that how to iterate through a list. We have done it. If you don't remember, you can surely go back to the video on the for loop, and if yes, then let's move ahead. So let's create a new file, and let's create a new file, more on list. Simple. So let's create a new file, and let me create a list called as days, and here let's add some days in it. So we have Monday, we have, okay, we need to separate them by commas. Have Tuesday, we have Wednesday, Thursday. Let's add one more. We have here Friday. Okay, Thursday. So we have a list in which we have days of the week from Monday to Friday. So let's try and first print it. So print days, simple. So let's print it. So here we have got from Monday to Friday. Now let's do some more operations that are specific to list. And we have seen that list is mutable, right? So let's try and manipulate with these values. So we have printed the list, right? So now let's try and change some value at some particular index. Okay, so what we will do is, how to do that? Again, using the print function, print days, and at, we will see like the index number is, let's say we want 0, and here we will initialize it to, okay, not in the print function, sorry, what we will do is days, and then the index number that you want to change the value equals to, directly put the value that you want. So let's say I want your Sunday, okay, Sunday, and then let's try and run it. Okay, Sunday, okay, we need to print it again, so print days, and let's run it again. So here we have got Sunday in the place of Monday. So what we did, we took the index that we want to replace and we directly assigned it the value. So this was changing some value in the list. So let's move ahead, and what we will do is let's add some values. We have Friday, we don't have Saturday, and we don't have Saturday, right? So let's add Saturday to it. So what we will do is days.append, and in append let's put it as Saturday. Now what is this append method? Append stands for add at the end. So this is the append method. Whenever you want to add something in the list at the end, you can use the append method. So append method, we directly append some value or element at the end of the list. So here after Friday, Saturday will be appended. So let's print it, print days, so, and let's run it, and see, here we have got our updated list and Saturday. Okay, so now Sunday, and then we have directly Tuesday. So what to do? So let's say we want to replace, we have seen replacing thing, right? But we want to insert value between Sunday and Tuesday. We want to insert Monday. So we want to insert Monday at index 1. So we have another method. We have days.insert, okay, not index but insert, and in this insert method it takes two parameters. First one is the index where you want to enter, or where you want to insert some value. So let's say you want to insert it at 1, and let's say then we have the value. So we have here Monday, and again we will need to print it to see whether the list was updated or not. So let's run it. So now we have got here, okay, Sunday, and list was not added, right? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. The Monday was not added. Okay, this is a very simple error that I have made here, that the index number that we wanted to append, I passed there a value as 1, but since it was in double quotes, so it treated it as a string. So here we need to pass the variable. Now let's hope that it will work this time. And yes, it worked absolutely. Sunday, then we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So let's say we want to now, since we have learned how to change the value, how to add a value at the end, how to insert a value, so even we will need to remove some value, right? So let's remove here Friday, or let's remove here Saturday. So what we will do is days dot remove, and just directly put the value that you want to remove. So let's say Saturday, and then again print days. I know this many print statements are just creating some confusions, but for the sake of learning purpose, let's have it there, and let's run it. So now the updated list is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is gone. So this was our remove method. So again, to remove, we have one more method that is called as pop method. Now in remove method, what we did was we directly passed the value or the element that you want to remove. So as we have append to add at the end, we have a pop method. What it will do, it will pop out, or it will remove the value at the end of the or the value that is at the end of the list. It will remove that. So let's try that. So we have your days dot pop, and days dot just pop, and let's print it, print days, and let's try and run this. So here, as we can see, Friday is gone. So similarly, there is one more version of pop where you can specify the index that you want to remove. So we have two methods to remove. One is the remove method where you can directly pass the element, or we have the pop method where we can pass the index. So what will be the syntax? Instead of just empty parentheses or without passing any parameters, we will pass the index where you want to pop the value. So this was pop, and we have append that adds at the end, and then we have pop that removes or pops the value that is at the end of the list. So with this, we are done with almost our discussion on list. Okay, then we are left with one more thing, that is the length function. So since as we have seen that list is similar to strings, right? So similarly, we can find the length of a string that we have seen during the operations on strings. So similarly, we can find the length of a list as well. So how? Very similar, length, and then we will pass the list in it, and just let's run it. And here we have got 5, because right now we have only 5 elements. In the beginning we had more, but then we manipulated and played with the list, and right now we have only 5 elements, that is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. Thus the length is 5. So with this, let's end our discussion on list, and this was the list. Now you are ready to use the list data type in your projects. So now let's catch up in the next video where we will discuss about tuple. Until then, keep writing quality code and do not forget to hit that subscribe button.